Hey everyone, good morning, good afternoon. I hope everyone's having a great day today. This is going to be fun. So if you're an assistant, don't worry, I got you on this. Just wait till you see the next slide. And it's Monica Reynolds at monica@monicareynolds.com. I'd love to have you join the next program, which starts on July 9th. And love to have you join the Perfect Real Estate Assistant. And then today I'm going to talk about should I fire my assistant today? So don't worry if you're an assistant on this call. It's all good. It's all going to be fine. You just wait and see. So one of the things that I wanted to just jump on and say, first of all, thank you, thank you, thank you for being on the call. We have about one more minute, and then we'll start the call. It will be 30 minutes, and I don't go over unless there's a lot of questions, and I'll try to help you out as best I can. If not, you can always reach me at monica@monicareynolds.com. So we're going to have a great call today. We're going to get started in about 45 seconds or so, and then I'll turn it over to Maps, and away we roll. This is a fun call. Again, assistants, I got you on this. Just wait till you see the next slide. I got you, so don't worry about that. So the next launch is July 9th, and there will be a discount code at the end of the call. If you're ready to sign up, we'd love to have you sign up for that. Okay? I got you on this. So Gary Keller was talking to his top 100 group, which I'm a member of, about how important, the most important part of the team is the assistant in the hub. And it's not the agents on the team because they're kind of like a college team, football team. They kind of rotate in and out every few years, but your hub and your executive assistant, those need to be the backbone of your business. So that was exciting. Hey, it's the top of the hour, Miss Rachel.
Sweet. Okay. Well, hey, everybody. Welcome to today's webinar, Should I Fire My Assistant Today, with MAPS coach Monica Reynolds. Please note that this webinar is being recorded and you will automatically receive the webinar recording afterwards. If you have any questions for your coach, please type them into the questions box located in your webinar taskbar. Following the webinar, if you have any questions about today's call or our coaching programs, please email us at fasttrack@kw.com, and that's FASTTRACK@kw.com. That's all for me, Monica. It's all yours.
Okay, great. So Rachel, let's advance to the next slide real quick. So the calls today is about should I fire my assistant today? But before we get started, I just wanted to mention to you that the Perfect Real Estate Assistant starts July 9th. So Rachel or Stephanie, can you advance the slide?
That's going to be Stephanie. There we go.
Okay, Stephanie, great. Okay, good. All right, so Stephanie, advance it again. We'll come back to that later. Let's go to the next one. So should I fire my assistant today? No, is the question is, should you fire yourself if you're the agent on the call first as a boss and a leader? Next slide, Stephanie. Now let's just take a look at this. And I broke this out pretty simply. Prior to the first day, you can take an evaluation if you're the agent on this call, and if you're the assistant on this call, kind of just take evaluation of maybe these are things that you need to go back and visit with your rainmaker, boss, leader. So prior to the first day, you are provided a clear expectation of the job. On a 1 to 10, how did that go? You went over how to build your career and how to treat your clients. So this is speaking to the agent, how you built your career. What did you do to build your career? It's always a great story. You're an independent contractor. You started at zero like every real estate agent. And how do you like to treat your clients? Those are great conversations. So as an assistant, did you hear that conversation? Number 3, the agent went over pay, days off, holidays, sick days, and jury duty. How are all those things handled? Were they just handled as they came up? Not such a good idea. You went over the job description in detail, item by item. So in the job description, you went over item by item and say, I know you're not familiar with this. Are you willing to do this? Are you willing to do this? Okay. Now, number 5, you went over the daily schedule and over the expected hours that they are to be in the office. That's a really key thing. And I want to go back to number 3 on the pay. Real estate assistants are not independent contractors per the IRS. They come into the office, they have a desk, they have a chair, they have a certain location, they have expected hours, they have expected job duties and description. That's not an independent contractor. You went over the daily schedule and what you expected to have happen there. You went over in detail the 30, 60, 90. And I'm going to share with you that, and all of these slides are going to be sent to you and the recording. Next page, Miss Stephanie. Okay, so let's talk about this on training. You monitored the 30, 60, 90, meaning at the end of 30 days, you looked at it with them and checked it off. But more importantly, each week you were looking at it. So it's not just every 30 days, it's every week. You, the agent, cleared your schedule the first 2 days to train and work with your new assistant. Now, if you were like me in the old days, I'd hire an assistant and say, hey, read these files over. I'll be back in a few hours. Tell me if you have any questions. That's not training. So I've made a lot of mistakes in the past, and I'm going to teach you not to make those mistakes. Okay, you reviewed each file with your assistant. You literally had your assistant read through every piece of paper in every file. You had your assistant write down the name of the players in that file. You followed the process of training. You watch, meaning you the agent, and I'll do it. Okay? You do, and I watch, the agent watches. You do, and I review. So as an agent, you're going to do it and they watch. Then I do. You do, I watch, you do, I review. So I hope that makes sense, because basically what you're doing is you're going to do processing a listing. They're going to sit there and watch and take notes. They may need to do it 2 or 3 times with you. You can also video this. I give you all these kind of tips with your iPhone or whatever you have, your Android, and then you put it up on your own YouTube training library. You do it, and I watch as you do it. Now, you follow your checklist that you wrote out. You can do anything you want. You do, and I'll review it later before it goes live and things like that on the listing, for example. Okay, next page, Miss Stephanie. So you role-played scripts. The phone's a cash register, everyone. Cha-ching, you make it ring. So did you role-play the scripts on how to answer the phone? Thank you for calling Monica Reynolds' office. This is Stephanie. I can help you. How do they answer the phone? Do they have enthusiasm, energy? How do they answer the phone? Is there a script? If not, I'll give you some. The agent's not in. So if you're not in, how does your assistant handle it? Do they say something like, oh, no, they never come in before noon? Now, that doesn't sound very good, does it? And what you were doing was you were in your home office doing 30 contacts a day before you go into the office, but it didn't sound like that. So the script is a lot different than, oh, no, they don't come in by noon. I'm sorry. Monica's with clients right now. Your call's important. How can I help you immediately? These are called scripts that you role play so that they know what to say. Potential buyer. If you're sitting at a listing presentation, your phone should be forwarded to the assistant, or first of all, you should have all your calls coming into the office. You are a business person. You don't run your business off your one cell phone. So I talk about some of the ways to get around that. Potential seller. If somebody calls and says, I want to list my property, does your assistant know what to say? I've got the scripts for those, and they're very detailed. They're very easy to do. And everything I give is a blueprint. And I've been doing this for almost 40 years. I've trained and coached more real estate agents and assistants than anyone in the country. I got the red badge of courage on that, or the gold star. Problem call. What if somebody calls and is super upset? Does your assistant know how to defuse that problem, make that client feel important, let them know that this is a top priority, that we're gonna fix it, we're gonna make it right? Do they know that when anything goes wrong, that we always take on the responsibility? I am so sorry that happened. That should not have happened. We will make this right. Now, you could have another agent, maybe a knucklehead on the other side of the deal, like a Remax or EXP or whoever, who goofed up something. And yet we still have to have some ownership of it, because it's better than saying, oh, well, that's not really our fault. That's not our deal. That's their deal. No, we don't do that. Okay, and so as a great boss and leader, did you ask these 3 questions today? Hey, how are you doing today? What are you working on? Hey, how can I help you? They're just 3 very simple questions. And I learned this from Dave Ramsey. And if some of you are familiar with him, out of Nashville, Tennessee, great speaker, great radio show, financial guru. And he would walk around his office and he always said, hey, how are you doing? What are you working on? Is there anything I can help you with? And he goes, I would have great conversations, very fast, very effective with people. But it showed I cared, showed I recognized him, and I took the time to say, how are you? What's going on? What are you working on? Next page, Miss Stephanie. So how did you rate yourself on all of those items? I'm just curious, because we got more. So you say thank you once a day, at least, to your assistant. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Wow, you do a great job of that. Thank you. You have a meeting each day to go over the to-do list. And that to-do list is going over their 20%, their 80%, so that you are on the same page. You're also checking in with them, what happened yesterday, things like that. I've got a whole little form for that, and how you can have a great meeting in 15 minutes or less. Did you, as a great agent, introduce your assistant to your team and office and everyone that's important, like all your vendors? So number 16, did you introduce them to the vendors? Did the vendors come in and personally have a face-to-face and talk about, okay, here's how title works, here's how what we do. Here's the lender comes in and says, here's how this works, here's what we expect, here's what you would like us to do, and we do that. Let them talk to these people. So as you're thinking about these things, and you're saying to yourself, and an assistant goes, well, I didn't get that, I didn't do that. Hey, it's not too late to correct these things. This is an overall general how to get someone up to speed. So should I fire my assistant? Absolutely not, if you did not do these things, because you did not give the proper steps, the foundation to build a great admin. Again, Gary Keller said in this top 100 group this year, absolutely, your assistant, the hub, is the nucleus, the foundation of your business. The agents on the buyer agent team are like a football team. They can rotate in and out of there every 2 or 3 years. The bottom line is that you have to have that assistant with the customer service, customer experience is so powerful. So 18, you talked about the agent, meaning you, talked about your value proposition and how to deliver that at all times to clients. What do you expect? How should we treat these clients? Have we talked about reviews and referrals? Have we role-played reviews and referrals with the assistant? All of these things, of course, are in that training program that's coming up July 9th. You enrolled your assistant for classes at the Market Center office. I don't care if it's Ignite. Put them in there, because the assistant needs to have the big picture. And obviously number 20, you signed up for the assistant up for the Perfect Real Estate Assistant course, demonstrating your education-based and make an investment to help them and your clients. Now, if you've already been through the Perfect Real Estate Assistant, you have a new assistant, they go there first. If you've gone through that, I always say it's like bold. You need to go through a couple of times. If you're ready, you feel, to graduate to the Perfect Operations team, that would be amazing too. We have that available. Going back to the Market Center and office, anytime there is an event or a free talk, let your assistant go, because you want that person to build your business with you. They are a foundation of your business, and the more they know the big picture, the more they know expectations, and unfortunately for you, the more they know the job you're supposed to doing. That's a great goal of an assistant, for you guys to have a talk and say, when you see that I'm off track, I need you to remind me. When you see that I'm off schedule, I need you to remind me. I need you to be the person in my office that helps me be even more accountable. And more accountable, the more accountable you are, the absolute best career that you're going to have. And I was talking with a couple people over the weekend. I was up at Alaska doing a training class, I was up there talking with Kristen Cole and her husband Denny Grimes, who is a Bold coach, and I said, there's one of my favorite quotes: "Champions are champions because they do the basics better than anyone." So in this course, you get the basic scripts, you get the basic foundational things on the listing, on sales, you get the basics on lead generation. Your assistant will have a comprehensive view and lots of information about customer experience versus customer service. So here's an example of customer service. Do you have any pets on the premise? That's an assistant going through, the list of when it was listed. Customer experience is, and then this would be Stephanie. I understand that you have a great family member, Tank. He watches dog TV every day, and I understand he has his own bedroom and couch. That is so cool. I'd love to meet that guy sometime. Tank, everyone, is a 250-pound Rottweiler. It is their child. It is their son. Just because it has 4 legs and lots of fur and slobbers everywhere, that's their kid. And so with that said, is there a pet on premises? Did that make them feel like Monica or whoever, the agent went out there and really understood them or communicated back to the assistant? Well, yeah, we have a really cool dog named Tank. I'm surprised Monica didn't mention him. Now, Tank is 250-pound Rottweiler. That boy's got to get out of there every time there's a showing. So you need to have the assistant know how to say, by the way, what arrangements would be easy for you to make when we schedule a showing? How much time do you need to get Tank on a walk or whatever Tank's going to do, all right? So next page, Stephanie. So here's the thing that I think is really clear. It's 30, 60, 90, smart, specific, achievable, repeatable, and timely. So I wrote this for career visioning. Next page, Stephanie. Specific, measurable, achievable, repeatable, and timely. So you guys have seen this before. And when I wrote this, the people who wrote career visioning had put together a whole bunch of stuff, and I went, no, wait a second here. And I said, I do this drill all the time. First of all, in the first 30 days, they need to know how to answer the phone professionally, be able to transfer calls and pick up voicemail, learn the potential buyer script, the seller script, learn absolutely the other scripts the agent's not in, the agent's on vacation, whatever they are. You need to role play those, manage the voicemails, etc. So that is critical. The phone is the cash register. Own the database and grow the database. The second thing is they learn about the database. They start to manage the database. They're tracking the database growth. They're managing the entries. Name, address, phone number, and emails are complete. They're managing the email campaigns, the email marketing videos. They know how to clean up the database and ask the seller or the buyer, more information. If there's an email missing on the wife, get it. They know how to have those, when a file comes in, to put completes in the database. And then the other thing in the first 30 days, they got a pre-list package. They know how to do that. MLS entry, customer conversations. Those are all great scripts. And some of you will roll your eyes back in your head. I teach in this class that our value proposition is that we speak to you often. We would say to the seller, I tell you to call them every day. I got 21 days of scripts of what to say. They're paying 6% of the value of their home. It is a land grab out there. It's a war right now. Zillow's trying to gobble us all up. There's other companies coming out. What's our value? We over-communicate. Now, you're never going to say, we're going to call you every day, because that may not happen. We're going to call you often. But I give them 21 days of scripts. Seller feedback using the scripts. So I know there's a lot of services out there, and they're fine. They're okay. I don't particularly like them, those internet services, because nobody's going to tell you the truth. I like calling them for 2 reasons. One, when you have your assistant call the agent who showed the property, you're saying thank you. And oh, by the way, ... I teach your assistant that this may be a potential team member. And if they're not KW, they'll absolutely be, a team member, or they could be a recruit. Keller Williams is going to absolutely grow, in huge amounts, and so this is the time that you start looking at that. So there's 3 questions, and this is being recorded, but I'll say them pretty fast and don't get mad. The first question, we say, thank you for showing the property, 123 Cherry Street, blah, 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 on Tuesday at 4 o'clock. Thank you for taking my call. Did I catch it at a good time? Great. I just have 3 questions to ask you. Number 1, will you be writing an offer? No, we're not going to write an offer. Great. Number 2, what would it take for you to write an offer? Well, they hate that wall between the kitchen and the family room. They love the house, but they're going to have an open concept. Bingo. The assistant hears that and says, can I check for you to see if that wall could come down? Would a pony wall be okay? Could we do something like that? And that's a true story because we did that and we sold the house. And number 3, we value your opinion. What do you feel the home will sell for? These agents will tell you the truth on that, and then the assistant delivers that information back by saying, may I give you unfiltered conversation? It may sting a little bit. However, this is what the agent felt. And we tell them, you got 4 cat boxes. They need to be out of the house during showings, and you need to put all these refresheners out, blah, blah, blah. So then asking for reviews and referrals, open houses, Facebook, coming soon, inventory. Next slide, Stephanie. So let's look at 60 days. So that's the first 30 days. There's nothing on closings there. The next 60 days is start the closing part. Start tracking numbers. Maybe you give 1 lead generation support system. But again, the first 30 days is the phone is the cash register to the database and processing a listing. Get them up to speed in those areas where they feel success rather than throwing all this other stuff of sourcing the business and appointments taken and building a closing file and managing repairs, negotiating repairs if they're licensed. They can't do any of these things until after the first 30 days. And a lot of this then will become easier because they're used to the files and how things work. Okay, Stephanie, 90 days. So let's look at the 90 days here. All the marketing, all the listings, all the pendings, the database, the phones and scripts, tracking weekly numbers, goal monitoring on the 15th protocol telling you where you are in your numbers. You need to get going or we're doing great, let's do more. Lead generation systems. And so on each one of these, you're signing off on the 30, the 60, to the 90. Now, will someone be absolutely 100% proficient in the first 90 days? Absolutely not. Should they have a pretty good handle on these things? Should phone and scripts be proficient? Yes. Should database be proficient? Listings be proficient? Pendings, that's always an education ongoing. Marketing, some, maybe not all. And so you have to be a little bit flexible. At the end of 9 months, you should, it's just like giving birth, have a fairly trained, great real estate assistant. Again, it goes back to making that investment in sending them to the market center. Time-wise, there's a lot of free trainings and anything on contracts. They should go anytime a broker's doing anything on contracts. Just exposing them to the information is just so important for their education. And, of course, the Perfect Real Estate Assistant class. Next slide, Ms. Stephanie. So if you have a question, you need to type it in the question box, and I'll be happy to answer it. So, again, get ready to put your questions in there, and then Stephanie will read those to me. So, corrective conversation and when to fire. So, Mo Anderson and I were in Alaska this weekend together. We went up there to speak at a market center and to have some fun. And Mo talked about, I call it the sandwich, compliment, correction, compliment. She calls it the sandwich, the bread, the dagger, and the bread. Of course, it's the dagger with her. So you always, when I want to have a corrective conversation with someone, I always want to point out what they're doing well, because this is not about me wanting to fire them. This is about me pointing out some things we need to work on. And do they deselect themselves after, accountability and monitoring and they just can't do it? Of course. And sometimes, you got a 50-50, they really, excel and they step up and they fix it. So a corrective conversation should go like, here, I thank you for meeting with me. I wanted to tell you, first of all, you are great at ... You're doing this well. This is really working. I really appreciate that. And here's something I'd like us to work on. We need to figure out a solution. So it was us, and it's the we word. It's not, you need to do this. and I see that you're doing this wrong. No, it's we and us. It's just so much easier to do that. And then you circle back with a compliment and say, great. So thank you for talking with me about that. I knew that you could take a look at this with me, and we can work this out. And you're so great at blah, blah, blah. I know we can fix this. So the problem is written down, the solution, what they're going to agree to, and then usually you're going to meet within 1 week again to review that those steps have gotten into place. So that's called a corrective conversation. And if they didn't make any corrections in that week, then possibly firing per Gary Keller should never be a surprise. Never be a surprise. In fact, Gary Keller said to his top 100, I've never fired anyone. They just resign. Well, I tell you why they resign, because he has these corrective conversations and they just put their hands up and go, okay, I'm done. I can't do it. And that's the end of that. Next slide, Miss Stephanie. So put your questions in the chat box and I'll answer them. I've got about 5-6 minutes, which is perfect timing. The next launch is July 9th, right around the corner. You can go to mapsgroupcoaching.com. You can click on the Perfect Real Estate Assistant 101. Sign up now. Enter your discount code WEB100 to save $100 off. Now, everyone, listen to this. This call is just not for assistants. The first call every single month is for the agents, teaching you to be a great boss, how to have great retention with your staff so you don't have turnover, how to communicate, and also teaching you what we're going to talk about so that you can also help your assistant be accountable for those things. So it's a team effort. Together, each achieves more, as we all know, right? So I want you guys to realize that. So if you go back to a couple of things now and think about what this program is, there's about, Stephanie told me, over 500 pages of systems, checklists, letters, customer service, lead generation systems. I go into FSBOs and expireds. We also go into Command, Tactic 12 in the Shift book. There's a lot of things that we cover that would be great conversations for you to have also. So Stephanie, let's read a couple of these questions. Let me knock them off.
Okay, Monica. The first question is, where can I get all of these forms?
Well, you've got the slides and they'll be sent to you. So if you're talking about the forms that are on the slideshow, you will get these. And so they're going to be sent to you after this call and the recording also. So you'll get those. Now, if you want more, you're going to sign up for mapsgroupcoaching.com. It's a 6-month course, 3 calls per month. It's over 500 pages of systems, office policy, and procedures. It is absolutely the very, very best value in what I've been told and what I feel that you can sign up for in training. All right, what else, Ms. Stephanie?
Okay, the next question is, when you bring on a second admin, what job duties make sense to give that person from the first assistant?
Okay, so when you bring on your second assistant, when you follow the model, and you haven't hired a buyer agent, by the way, FYI, MREA book, that second assistant, you have to determine, is your first assistant really, really, really good at closings? Are they really, really good at listings? So in the DISC world, and you can take that DISC test if you go to monicareynolds.com, I firmly believe that you should have a high C in the TC world, your transaction closer, okay? On the listing side, I like to see a lot of S because we're hand-holding a person. So you have to determine what your assistant really is good at, what they like to do, and then you break it off. I do not like contract to close. I think that's 2 personality styles, 2 different things. I don't like when somebody says, well, we're going to do contract for close. So when the listing comes in, you take care of it until close. You can do that if you want. I just don't agree with it. I like breaking it off. I have a listing manager and I have a transaction manager. I have a TC and I have a listing manager. Those are 2 different personality styles. Those are 2 different people. The marketing should be done with the listing manager. When you break it off, the TC is in charge of the closings and making sure the database is perfect, making sure all the closing documents are done. They're also in charge of the numbers and the sourcing. So When you join the program, I show you how to break that out. So you're taking one job description on an EA and you're pulling stuff off, building another one. That was a good question. Okay, who's the next?
Next is, do you have a sample job description you would be willing to share?
I do, and I'd be willing for you to join the program and get the job description, the schedule, the job description for an EA, the job description for a buyer agent, the job description for an ISA, the job description for every single person on a team. So if you want to email Stephanie at monicareynolds.com, she will send you the EA job description. Again, it's a blueprint, it's a place to start, and then of course we've got so much more when you join the program. Okay, what's next, Stephanie?
Okay, and then Monica, next is, I don't have an assistant right now. Should I go ahead and sign up and go through the course myself?
You know, what's a great question is that about 30 to 35% are agents without assistants because they want the information of the systems to put together. I absolutely compliment career visioning. I've been hiring and training assistants for almost 40 years, so I have a system that complements career visioning. I give you the screening questions that you ask before you invite someone in and before you have them do an AVA and a DISC test. So I go through all of that. You know, I have an orientation schedule. I have all of that in a hiring process that is part of the Perfect Real Estate Assistant. So yes, you should take it because it gives you peace of mind on the systems. You may not have a third implemented, but when you hire your first assistant, you know, they can then see this information because you printed it off. The good news is this course is 6 months. So hopefully you'll hire someone during that period. They're live calls. These are not recorded calls. They're live calls. They are recorded so you can go back and listen to, and then they go 2 months after. So the course will go from July to December, and then you'll have January and February of 2020 to listen to them. So you get 60 days after that to go back and listen. They're archived for the 8 months. Okay? Hope that answers. So sign up. Okay, who's next, Stephanie?
Okay, next is, Rose would like to know who handles business when the admin is on vacation.
Well, first of all, admin go on vacation 1 week a year after 1 year, 2 weeks after 2 years, not to be taken consecutively under any circumstance. 3 years they cap out at 3 weeks per year, not to be taken consecutively. During that week, hopefully, most everything is in pretty good order. Now, obviously, if there's a closing, you, the agent, have to step in, or you hire a virtual, or you hire someone else to step in. But again, we're just talking 5 days. So hopefully all heck doesn't break loose. Now, if you are an agent that's bringing in 5, 6 listings a month and you bring in 5 that week that they're gone, you either are going to find someone that is a virtual to do it, or you're going to do it. Bottom line, maybe there's someone in the office who can help you out at night or whatever that's an assistant. So you figure that out. They don't work while they're on vacation. Okay? Good question. All right, next.
Next, Monica, is realistically, how many transactions should an admin be able to handle at a time?
Okay, I got the formula for this, and I've been doing this, and I know, okay? So if you have a TC, one person doing transactions, they can do up to 27 closings per month without the wheels coming off. I've tested this. I coach mega agents who close over 50 transactions a month. It's 27. They need assistance. Now, when you're talking about an EA, okay, that EA can process 45 transactions a year. If you're doing more than 4 per month, you probably need your second assistant. Gary Keller wrote it in the MREA book. I wrote it in the book before the MRE book. 45 per assistant. So if you're doing 60, 70, you need that half part-time assistant or a full-time assistant anticipating where you're going next. You always want to hire ahead of the curve. So if you're over 45 transactions, you need 1 more assistant. Okay? All right, next, please. That's 45 closed. Go ahead, Stephanie.
Do you go over the pay structure?
You know, in Mississippi is a lot different than the average sales price of a average home is 800,000 now in San Diego. Mississippi, it's not going to be close to that. So I always believe in this. You always pay an assistant a good wage so they can pay their bills. You don't pay a minimum wage. You pay them a good wage so they can pay their bills. I personally believe in paying them a bonus on top of every closing. So it's up to you. And so if assistants you're listening to this, don't go, Monica Reynolds said. No, I'm saying, just suggesting, this is how I did it. So every single closing we had, my listing manager got paid, my closing coordinator got paid. We were a team. We helped each other. And so you can start out with $25 a closing, $50 a closing. Don't start out too high, because here's what I say to the assistants. Your salary will never change. We never talk about your salary. The only thing that changes are bonuses. The more business I do, the more money you make. At the end of 6 months, we're going to review your bonuses. Then after that, every year we'll look at your bonus structure. So maybe you start them out at $25 for the first 6 months. Maybe you go to $50. And then the next year, maybe you go to 70 and you say, we cap at 100. Whatever it happens to be, whatever you're comfortable with. But don't overpay in the beginning, because it's hard to give raises then, because you want to be able to do that. Okay, what's next?
Okay, so you went over when should you hire an assistant, but now I have a virtual TC. When will I know that I need an in-house assistant?
You know, I'm all about the virtuals. I think it's great, but I'm all about having an in-house assistant first immediately. When I walk in, I'm a whirlwind. Where's my pre-list package? Gosh, I need this. Can you print that off for me? Hey, can you look that number up? Hey, where is this in the database? How do you do that with a virtual? And oh, by the way, I am just swamped right now. I've got this really big, luxury buyer coming into town. Can you just run and get my car details were washed for me and get some gas in it? I've got to make 5 calls here to these guys waiting to set appointments with me. How do you have somebody when you can turn around and create that synergy in the office? How do you have someone when they're virtual and they're in the Philippines, which is all great. However, I need someone in the office that I can count on to help me out when I need it. There's too many things that I need. Now that means I'm going into the office every day. So a lot of agents working from home, create a business, get an office, get to your office and be a business person. Okay, what else, Stephanie?
And then here's one you'll probably just be able to give a general, you've really pretty much answered it. What do you consider a good wage in the Midwest? That's a big area.
I'm anywhere from $12 to $15 an hour. If you pay someone $15 an hour, that's basically $30,000. I would say in the Midwest, you basically could pay bills. In California, in San Diego, Beverly Hills, San Francisco, that's not going to pay bills in some cases. Okay? Anything else, Stephanie?
That's it, Monica.
Yay! I only went 6 minutes over. Hey, thanks for everybody for hanging on. I see that you did. I appreciate you guys. I'd love to talk to you on calls 3 times a month starting July 9th. Go on there, mapsgroupcoaching.com. Love to have you. You got a discount right off the bat. Take advantage of that today, and we'll see you on the calls. If you have any questions, Monica@monicareynolds.com. The slides and the recordings will be sent to you. Thanks, everyone. Have a great one. Bye-bye.